it's time to hit post-production. So sometimes post-production will start during production, and a lot of times, especially on TV shows, that's what happens. There's a stagger. We're going to go pre-production, then we're going into production, and then as production gets a quarter of the way through, well, post-production starts, and they're kind of staggered. So that usually happens. So as production starts, you know, the producers are gonna hire the post-production to start crewing up post-production. So once we get this certain amount of footage in the can, in the pipeline, then they're gonna start working on it. So first thing obviously is gonna be picture editing. So in picture editing, that means I still gotta prep everything. And we're actually gonna learn how to do this. I still have to organize all the footage. So I need to break it into scenes. I need to clean it up. I need to get all this stuff done. So even before an editor touches it, I need to get it all prepped for the editor so that they know what they're looking at. Put it in some rhyme, shape, or order. Sound editing. So a lot of times sound editing happens separate of picture. Picture editors may edit the dialogue and put temporary sound effects or temporary music just to get the mood and pace going. But I'm going to have a separate team that's going to start working on sound. Even on low budget independents, we do that. We'll edit and have the editor maybe do some rough sound editing, but then I'm going to have someone else who does the real sound editing and design to be able to, and they'll usually work on it in a little bit of a stagger after we get most of the picture locked. Music. Well, where's my music coming from? Am I doing original scores? Do I need an orchestra and need to coordinate that and hire an orchestra and have someone write the music? Get a conductor? Wow, that's a big lightning. So am I going to do that way? Or am I going to use all canned music? Am I use contemporary music like Quentin Tarantino likes to do a lot, right? Or am I going to hire some, you know, somebody with some sequencer software and have them create some weird, you know, techno music or something? There's many ways to do this, but I need to start thinking about what my music is, whether I'm getting canned music, hiring someone to compose it, getting to an orchestra, whatever. Sound mixing. So music's going to happen, sound editing is going to happen, but now once I start getting all these components together and on a timeline, it's going to go to a sound mixer where it's going to start mixing everything together. And then on top of this, and again, this stuff, we're going to start with picture editing and sound editing, and then these things may happen in parallel. It just depends on the speed of the production or post-production. But visual effects, do I have any special effects? Am I doing a sci-fi fantasy or, you know, type of movie? Or am I doing a regular movie that has set extensions or has something in it? Maybe I have wire removal. Maybe I'm doing stunts, right? These, you know, fights where someone gets thrown and they hit the wall and fall down. They're probably on wires. I need to, those are visual effects because I need to remove them. So set extensions, any type of weird things. Every movie, almost every movie you see has some form of visual effects in it, even if it's just a regular drama. You just don't see them because they're invisible. They're there to enhance something, to fix something. You know, maybe there's a stop sign behind our shot that we don't want there, but we can't cut the stop sign down. So I'm going to just digitally remove it later on. This is all doable stuff. Maybe I'm doing a period piece, right? And I want to remove a skyscraper from the background because it doesn't belong in 1930 or whatever the period piece is. These are all visual effects. So I need to think about that when I start my post-production, how all these departments need to kind of work together. If it's just you doing your own thing, well, you know, maybe it's going to be you working, you know, on picture editing, then you do sound, maybe you'll jump to visual effects and then go back to get the music dropped in and then do some mixing of everything. You might be jumping around to different departments if you're just doing your own thing. I know I have on my little shorts. Motion graphics, that's going to be any titles, the opening credits, the end credits, all that stuff I need to think about. Anything that has, you know, when it says, you know, period today, you know, December 21st, 1943, lower third on the screen. Well, that's motion graphics. In the old days, we'd have to send it out to a company that would do it optically. Today, we just do it in the editor. So that stuff can just happen during the picture editing process. So we're not even done yet. So now we go to conforming. So all these pieces of the puzzle, the effects, the sound mix, the motion graphics, the edit itself, all this stuff now has to be brought together and conformed. One of the things that we do in editing, especially at this level, is we're not going to work if we say we shot the whole movie in 6K. I'm not going to work in 6K during this process because it's going to bog everything down. So I may transcode everything down to 1080 or 720 that's more manageable to edit. But now I have to conform back to the original 8K or 6K footage. So I'm going to do that in this conforming process. So I'm going to bring all the assets in that everybody has made in different departments, combine them all together in the full resolution and relock picture to all the full quality imaging. Once that's done, now I'm going to go to color grading and color correction. So any problems in color, I'm going to fix it. Any white balance or underexpose or overexpose, I'm going to tweak all that. And then I'm going to make the color grade. I'm going to start coloring the images to make them look cinematic or however I want them to look to help contribute to the story. That comes next. And then finally, when I get to the end, I'm going to be doing the finishing and mastering. So I get through color correction. I'm going to get through finishing to make sure everything, the levels and mix, everything is set accurately. And then I'm going to master it to a final project. Because right now it's still in my editor, whether it's Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, Avid Media Composer, it's all files in that software. I have to render everything out and get it all out into a file that's going to be used for mass duplication or distribution, or even if I'm just going to YouTube or Facebook, I need to get it in a format that's going to work for those platforms. So once I do the mastering basically means I'm going to take all this stuff in the timeline, make a full super high quality resolution image, video file of it. So it may be a 6K or 4K. Maybe I'm doing 4K timeline. It's a 4K file, super big, super high resolution, but not great for deliverables, right? Because this file is probably going to be multiple gigs, if not hundreds of gigs in size. I can't email it to somebody, can't post it on Facebook. So from that master, I'm going to make the deliverables, and that could be YouTube files, that could be DVD and Blu-ray files, that could be format for Netflix, whatever the deliverables are being requested by whoever's going to show my movie. That's what I'm going to create from the master. And that's called creating deliverables. The other thing with deliverables I'm going to do is all the paperwork. So every piece of art has to be released. All my actors have to be released. I have to have all that information documented, because if I'm selling this to somebody, let's say I'm going to sell it to a studio, they're going to want all that evidence that I've cleared everything and there's no secrets there that someone's going to come back and sue me for. Say, hey, you used my picture without my permission. I'm going to sue you for $1 million, blah, 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 whatever. No, I need to have it all released. So I'm going to have all the lawyer stuff in there too, in the deliverables. And finally, I'm going to archive everything. So I've done all this editing and everything. I'm not just going to wipe the drives. I'm going to archive it. So in case, what if I am an up and coming director and I do my first major motion picture, and then 10, 20 years from now, I become super famous, and they're like, hey, we want to pay for the director's cut of your first movie. Do you have the edits and everything? And we're like, no, I erased the hard drive. Well, too bad. That was a good chance for you to make another edit and make some more money. But if you're like, well, you know what? I archived everything. It's all backed up. I have it backed up. Boom. You can do your director's cut and have your film now 3 hours long instead of an hour and a half. So I need to archive everything, all the components that go into making this film in some place that can be accessed later on. So you can take a look. This diagram is kind of in the canvas, but so you can go in there and zoom in and take a little bit more look at it. But basically what I'm trying to show you here is how all these components are interconnected together. In the end, we've got this master that we make, and we make our deliverables. But you can see editing goes to conforming goes to color grade goes to finish. While I'm editing, I go to sound editing. Sound editing takes their stuff, goes to mixing. Music goes to mixing. And then once this is all done, it goes all the way over to finishing and mastering the line up here. Here's all the storage that everyone's going to interact with. Down here, motion graphics are going to go back and forth between editing. VFX are going to go back and forth. And in the end, all this stuff's going to be stored somewhere, whether it's on hard drives or LTO archival tape. And basically, every post-production is going to have some type of workflow like this that shows what the pipeline is going to do for us in this digital world. So now, are we done? No, now it comes into distribution.